we have a sunken living room, so you have to be careful to step down. I used to have, maybe 10 years ago, I talked Norm into very long gold shag carpet. It was way too hard for me to vacuum. So we gave up on it and decided to get this more smooth carpet in the living room. And I like it. We were able to match our frisé gold carpet pretty well. This leather chair is newer, starting to show some wear already there from Norm sitting in it every morning. He really enjoys getting up early because he's been working until just last August. He retired. He loves to get up early still and have a cup of coffee or two and read the news on his phone. Up here is one of our very first Starburst clocks. It is a very large one. When I purchased it on eBay, they sold it as not working. I know that was taking a chance, but I didn't want to spend the money that the prices were even then. I put a little alcohol down in the center and just turned it around, the dials around a little bit, and the hands I should say, and I figured that would kind of loosen up what could have gotten a little gunky in there. I don't know, but I was totally amazed when I eventually got it working. It's been working ever since. It was rusty wooden tone stained slats on it that I didn't really care for. So I had sprayed it black, and I had it black for a long time, but just last summer I decided to spray those wooden slats gold. I don't know if I like it or not, but I'm leaving it for now. This table we just got last summer in an antique shop about 34 miles from our home, still in the Twin Cities in a suburb, and I saw it in the basement of this antique shop and I thought it was so cool. I didn't know where I was going to put it. I worried that it really wasn't going to fit. And actually, it's a pretty tight fit over here because of the large glass top on it. But I got home and I'm sitting in this chair over here and I was dreaming of this really cool table. I don't know actually where a table like this would be in someone's home because it is taller. It could be for, I don't know, front entrance or something. If you are familiar with this style and the height, maybe you might be able to tell me a little bit of something about your opinion about where it would go, but we don't have anywhere else in the house to put it, so we do have it in the corner that I thought it would fit well. Like I said, the glass top is bigger than I would like, but I still love it. Norm said, I don't think we're going to be paying for a new glass top on it. It's very thick glass and very heavy. There's a few retro things here that I found in thrift stores. I thought they were kind of cool, and the birds are springy. Up here, we've had this for a very long time. It was actually gold, wire, brass, and I love black trim. I've resprayed other similar type wall decor like this. If it was brass and tarnished, I just decided to spray it black. So I have artificial succulents in here, and I put some white beans from the grocery store in there to look like gravel. It's probably lighter weight than gravel is. I worry about this, the weight of that thing on the wall, so we have a pretty heavy duty screw in the wall. I sure hope it holds. Up here is one of our first spaghetti lights, lucite. It's Very pretty. We have quite a few in our home. That was something that we really wanted for the retro look. This is one of my very first purchases, what I believe is a Hager retro looking vase. The horse would be, in my opinion, a Trojan horse style. It's very lime green. I'm crouching down again. It's a good thing I can still do this at my age. I love this telephone rack, or little telephone table in gold. I found that at the state fairgrounds at a really reasonable price, and now I've tried to look for another one on the internet because I just don't see them anymore, and they're often sprayed black, but I wanted another gold one, and they're ridiculously priced, so I won't be buying one of those. This is the other gold vase that I was telling you about for only $4. I could not believe my eyes. That was very fun for me to find. This table, we could not believe when we found this beautiful, what I'm assuming is a council table with a drawer. I have lots of miscellaneous things in the drawer. It was at the Minnesota State Fairgrounds Antique Show several years back. I'd say 5 at least or more. It has the laminate top on it to match our little end table there and some other ones that we have in the house. It is in pretty good condition, I'd say. The fellow was asking $70, I believe, and he went down to $65. I thought it was a steal. This is the laminate top, but it's in really good condition. I collect a lot of odds and ends of art glass or pressed glass to put in the window here because it lights up so nicely when I find steals on them, and most of them, like I say, are from thrift stores. This is an old vintage rack that I don't know what people would have called that, for books or plants or whatever, but I bought this Norfolk pine really small after Christmas, 70% off, so that was a steal for practically nothing. Down here is a lovely pottery swan. Many of you may have seen them before. They have been in different colors. I've seen pink with a pale blue inside, or maybe it was blue with the pink inside. I just saw that on a video recently. I forgot to show you these old metal wall sconces, probably for holding a candle. It was black. They were from a thrift store. I have a pair. I spray painted them green, actually 2 shades of green. A little hard for you to see, but this is another fun pair of birds that I really like. Very, very tall tail on them. So I have the other one on the other side over there. I also forgot to mention that I made these very long beaded plant hangers myself many years ago. We just bought a new chair because our chairs have been a little too tall. The ones that we had for many years, they were a little too tall for our shelving over there in the corner, so this was on sale and got it for a really, really reasonable price. I was hoping it would have been a little more orange looking, but after I got it home, it just wasn't quite as orange as I'd hoped for, but as you can see, it has lots of color in it. This is a vintage hooked pillow, hooked yarn craft pillow, I imagine. I don't know anything about it. That hobby, I think they're adorable, but I don't do that. That was from an antique shop years ago. On the shelving, my hubby put up this shelving for me years ago when I decided I wanted to go more modern. We just had oak shelving. We had a large oak mantle that we actually had to purchase separately when we bought the house. There was no mantle on the fireplace. So we were very traditional when we first moved in. That was in the 80s, as I've mentioned. And I had just more up north type theme, and had that for probably the first seven or more years when we lived here. And because my hubby bought me a beautiful Yamaha digital piano in black laminate, it was so beautiful and shiny, it made me start wanting to be more modern. So he put up oak shelving at first, and I asked him to please use black standards because, and wall strips, because the fireplace insert there was black. I thought that would be a nice effect to have it two-tone, but after a while I decided I wanted white shelving because I started getting into melt glass, and I also thought that white would be striking with our rich colors. Our walls are dark, and I have so many colorful things on the shelves that I thought we should try white. So he was very kind to go buy all new white shelving. They aren't very expensive. What's so nice about this is we have moved it around, except for the bottom shelf there, and the very top one. The mantle we don't move around, and the top shelf up there is as high as it can go. But we have moved around the depth between these shelves. We've actually added one more shelf than we started out with, but that's been nice. I'm constantly arranging and rearranging, but that's part of my fun. We have a TV light here with the birds. It's got a little planter that I haven't put anything in right at the moment, but over here is a white horse vintage TV lamp. And on the other side, we have the white swan. And there's a rearing horse in black over there. So when Norm gets up very early in the morning and has his cup of coffee, he's usually in the dark down here, but he turns on all of this mood lighting. Not the upper hanging spaghetti lights, just the TV lamps and the fireplace. I'm not sure what this type of thing is, but I fell in love with it in an antique store last summer. They are winged horses for handles. It is so ornate, and unlike me to want something like that. The bottom says it's made in Italy, and there is some kind of stamp identification, but I do not know what that is. I can't read it. It's a little blurry, but it is quite a piece. And you can put floral in it, of course. Over here is just 3 separate mod birds that I found. The brass one, they are popular in pairs, but I only found one in a thrift store. So that makes a cute pairing. Up here is some of my milk glass collection. As you know, I kind of went nuts on milk glass in the living room here. I just have some vases and candy dishes. The very large one would probably be called an apothecary. And we've added radios in here. I have a collection that I talked Norm into starting years ago. I thought the old radios were a lot of fun. And my brother saw that I was interested in the old radios, and he gave us several. He is so generous. He has a house full of antiques, like I've mentioned previously, and he's given us many things over the years. So there's two of the radios. This is the cutest little deer planter I just found in a thrift store. That was very sweet. I'm not usually that attracted to brown, but it's pretty cute for spring. And I just found this peacock. Very fun. I love just plain things when it comes to animals, plain designs. And there is one of your retro, they call that the top swung glass vases, I believe. I have purchased many beautiful books at thrift stores for a long time for this shelving, and I love to sort them by color. So I do have sections of black and orange and gold and red. These rearing horse bookends were from an antique store in southern Minnesota. I thought that they were very unusual. I don't see too many modern horse bookends, and I became very interested in black ones. And that is the other half of that one over there. They're Abingdon, smaller, very modern, shiny bookends. I found these two gold birds at an antique store antique mall, I should say, in western Minnesota. They feel like metal. I really don't know. Norm thought they were too Aztec looking for him, but not for me. I thought they were just gorgeous. Very fun, very modern. Down here are some more of my pretty birds that I certainly am addicted to birds. This one was only $10 in a thrift store. I could not believe it. Very pretty, very fancy. I just found those two spiky, they're actually wall hangings, but I just set them here for now. These are the most elaborate birds I own, I think, as a pair, and we love the orange. I'm not sure what they are, like Chinese pheasants, possibly. I don't know, because I have some other Chinese pheasants that are similar, not quite as tall, but they're lower, and they are painted in elaborate colors like the real Chinese pheasant is. That one over there is very fun, very modern. It could be a Roadrunner. I really don't know for sure, but I love that one too. This vase I found many years ago and thought it was just super to go with the birds. And I love the fact that it's white. I just put some artificial ferns in there. On the top shelf is another old radio. Some more old bookends that I found. And this horse recently found this in another antique store in southern Minnesota. That was an unusual find too, and I don't believe it's a bookend. It's just a figurine. It wouldn't fit too well unless you had it sideways. And over here is my very first retro purchase. The lime green, or what they would probably call chartreuse, Hager vase horse heads. They are from way back when I first decided I loved retro. That started the whole thing. I added these mirrors hanging here. I thought they were so cool. It filled in a very large space between the shelving, and I just thought it made the whole wall look a little more a little more retro. I'm going to back up here and show you when we first moved in. Our fireplace was beige and it had black blotches of soot here and there. I didn't care for it at all. The whole house was done in beige, and I decided I wanted to paint the fireplace. Norm thought I was absolutely crazy, but it worked out just fine. I purposely made the bricks in shades of oranges and reds to go with our wild leather couch that we had custom made many years ago when I decided I wanted to be modern. It was a company downtown Minneapolis called Rosenthal's. I don't know if they still exist, but they made that crazy couch for us. The coffee table we found for only $100. It is wood, not laminate, so it's blonde wood. It's very heavy. The top is a textured glass, as you can see right there with the glare. That is so heavy to move. I talked Norm into that too, and he likes it. This is a beautiful tidbit tray in our favorite color, orange. That was fun. I can't tell you what it says on the bottom at the moment. I found this crazy cactus light. It's just in a plastic pot of its own, and that lights up too when Norm gets up in the morning and turns this fireplace on and the TV lamps. He actually has a remote that he's set everything up that he wants to light up with this little remote. That is a fake fireplace from probably the 50s, 60s. It looks so real. We decided we weren't all that crazy about having fires, so I'm happy that he's willing to just use that. And he gets to have a fire every morning with no work. And it's old. That's the funnest part. I've been collecting California pottery, like even Moreno, Frank Moreno, some of my things. Some of them are craft made, like probably this big green one with the speckles on it. I have a real stash back here behind the chair. I brought them all in from outdoors, and a nice tall rack I have outdoors. The neighbors can all see it. It's very colorful with all my crazy pots on it. They get dirty, of course, out there all summer. So I brought them all in and cleaned them up, and I haven't gotten them all back out there again yet. This is my favorite magazine rack. I've seen a lot of magazine racks, but that's still my favorite. I was happy to find that many years ago. Now for the craziest thing ever. Well, let me show you these crazy pillows first. I've looked for old retro pillows whenever I can. Norm doesn't even see things like that when he's walking around antique stores or thrift stores. That's just not something he'd be ever looking for, but I'm always looking for old textiles. I look at tablecloths and curtains and you name it, towels. So I've got a very crazy collection of old pillows that were probably all of them handmade. Our shadow box was from an antique store in the Twin Cities, and it was all gold. Somebody had sprayed it gold, and the mirrors were missing around the spiky sides. You know, little mirror tiles. I'm assuming you could see the glue still inside of the shadow box edges there, and it didn't look very nice. The mirror was a little wavy, so we took the mirror off the back and Norm spray painted the entire box nice black, and I worked for quite a few days trying to insert washi tape. Don't know if you've ever heard that. If you're a crafter, you probably have. Washi tape comes in all kinds of patterns. It's sticky, and you can get different widths. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a width that fit perfect. It was a little too big, so I had to spend a lot of time trimming this tape, and you can imagine working in the corner there to overlap it. But I was working over lumpy glue. I wasn't going to scrape all that off, but I think it turned out really nice, and eventually Norm did get a new mirror put in it. So we're very happy with it. Anyhow, when I had all the shelving put up, I guess I didn't realize I was gonna be nuts for a shadow box too. We found these spiky wall sconce candle holders many years ago. It's just plastic, the black part, and metal for the candles. I was going to show you something over here. Oh yes, our Pottery hanging light, purchased 15 years ago. One of the first things we decided to get after we found those neat horses. So that was very fun with the holes in it. On the other side, down the wall, is the other one that is sometimes I think they call this spaghetti rope, or rope spaghetti. So it's just a white background and some yellow to gold to orange. I guess it is yellow and orange combination. So we really enjoy our spaghetti lights. Here I have another black telephone rack or table, and I just put a old plastic Kleenex box in there and my music books down below and some Reader's Digest. I believe they are Reader's Digest, yes, books to raise up this darling retro lamp a little higher. I think it would show off much better than sitting way down low. And this is the beautiful piano that Norm purchased for me that can make you sound like a real professional. It does everything imaginable, has karaoke feature, you can hook it up to the internet and download music. It's the third piano that he's purchased for me. We were upgrading by trading in the other two, and there was a world of difference that Yamaha had done with each model that they've upgraded, and there's still many more. I've had this one the longest, and I love it. I don't play it a lot, and I'm not a real professional, but you can sound fantastic on it. One more thing. This is a neat plant hanger, beaded plant hanger that I found probably 15 years ago in Duluth, Minnesota. It is very, very long. I found it for $10. I was so happy. It is so long. I don't know if somebody made that. It's very nice. They did a good job if it's handmade. So I had Norm put a hook way high up, almost to our ceiling, in order to hang it. So I didn't want to miss putting that in my living room decor. It is right on the edge of our kitchen wall here, this freestanding wall. I also wanted to mention the plant. This is the first time I've ever had this. It's called the friendship plant or the Chinese money plant, and it is a pilea, P-I-L-E-A, but it gets babies in it. I've already taken 2 out. They grow up on the sides and you can take them out and root them. So I'm excited to eventually get a couple new ones started. So I just wanted to show you that neat hanger too. Really like it. So I am on the lower step and need to step up here. That is our retro living room. This is a long video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for looking. See you again.